But now we're going to be jumping into game number 3, which should be a pretty interesting bloodbath considering it'll be MLC Stealth versus former teammates on Allegiance. And for that, we've got the casters to take it away.
Thank you very much, Taco. Fantastic game coming out from IMOG right there. Ionic, the captain, with the interview. Next up, we've got Noble versus Allegiance here. Going to be a very exciting one, like Taco said. Some teammates fighting back and forth.
That's true, yeah. Former teammates, not actual teammates now, but mainly Stealth removed from the roster of Allegiance, and then Metyankey placed into that roster for Allegiance now. The question is how much investment is Stealth going to put into this one? Not like he's not going to, but is he going to put an extra oomph onto making sure he picks off Metyankey all the time, just to be like, haha, look at me, I'm better.
I think he just might. Let's look at picks and bans and see which way he goes. As far as, you think we're going to see the Zeus or some other power picks?
I don't know, but I think they'll play it by ear. Toth is available for both these two teams.
Nope.
Noble, however, have shown it multiple times that they are not scared of facing off against Toth.
Yeah.
With them being first pick here, it's a bit of a different story, though, whereas Allegiance are like, no, you're not going to get it as your first pick.
None whatsoever. The Ymir ban is interesting, too. Easy Nami going to be taken away as well.
Easy Nami?
Easy Nami, baby.
It's not easy.
It's easy.
It's not.
It's cheesy, though.
She's just got wave clear. That's all she's got.
And the wave clear turns into pressure, turns into invades, turns into easy wins.
Turns into late game, gets stomped because you can't escape very well because your escape's poop.
Sylvanus is the selection coming out from Noble Esports. We'll see that in likely the support role. Doubt we're going to see a jungle Sylvanus
You
today.
never know. It is the SPL after all. You just don't know what you're going to get until the game starts.
Batz will be the jungler of choice for Team Allegiance. This is an interesting look. How do you feel about Batz being picked this early?
Batz early on is just a safe pick overall for Allegiance. I think they just want to get something comfortable for weekend on. Obviously, Batz is fantastic at all stages of the game, early, mid, and late. Once Fear No Evil's online, that ultimate is just so game-changing at any stage of the game. It's always going to be impactful because it forces at least beads every single time.
Nuwad's the selection for MLC Stealth. He's one of the players that absolutely loves his choice. She's got a lot of burst if set up correctly, and then the global vision is also nice as well.
For the most part, I feel this is almost like they want to play super safe with Stealth in the mid lane here. They're a little bit worried about pressure onto Stealth in the mid lane, and with that synergy that you've got from Allegiance there with Fafnir, Poseidon, and Batz, there is a lot that can be revolved around the middle area. Give him something like New War, an extra version of Escape, because for the way the ultimate is used sometimes, it is almost like a third relic.
That's true. That is very true. It just allows you to really get out of there. Cupid is the ban before the ROM. Now, this is... Wowy played very well on the Cupid last time, so I think that's just where that's coming from. It's not really about the cripple field shutting anything down particularly.
Yeah, and the cripple field, it would be a little bit impactful here against Fafnir, against Batz. Fafnir as well makes himself very, very obvious target for that sort of play as well. And if you are going to look at something like Anhur here for Oceans, then yeah, Cupid is something that can try and box you there.
The Ratatoskr ban coming out as well, knowing that CycloneSpin is over there in the solo lane. Cyclone was one of the first solo Thanatoses that we saw. It was just him. For now, it's part of the meta. It's one of those stretch picks. But Cyclone one day just selected it, got a pentakill, and then never played it again.
Well, it was more to do with Cyclone's always showed assassins in the solo lane.
Exactly.
We've seen assassins in the solo lane time and time again. The real difference is, though, is that Cyclone did it for pretty much a whole split, if not half a year, and consistently got triple kills, quadra kills, pentakills, and snowballed those games off that carry potential.
So we've got a Cabrakan locked in here last pick, and coming off of that conversation that we were talking about, Hinduman, how likely is it that we see the solo Batz the jungle Cabrakan?
That is a good question, actually. I didn't even really think about that, because I was thinking, no, straight away Cabrakan in the solo lane. Up against Vamana as well. I think it's Cabrakan solo lane here for Cyclone. Cyclone's come a long way from his assassin days. He's no longer the focal point of Allegiance to be the hard carry of the team. Allegiance's team on paper now have carried potentially multiple roles, and Cyclone fits into the team as a potential carry, not the superstar that is always going to get the prime god.
We have seen the fact that Cabrakan can carry the games, so we are going to take a look at here. And starting off very defensive, however, with that the mark of the Vanguard, obviously, that really has to do with a lot of the damage coming out from the Bluestone from both jungler and solo lane player.
And the thing is, at level 1, the clear potential of CycloneSpin a little bit low, but he's got a lot of burst in that as well. Once he hits level 2, burst potential definitely strong against Vamana, mainly against physical warriors. This is one of the reasons we really see the Cabrakan, because of his burst potential.
So right there, we're starting off things with a pause. Players getting themselves situated before the game begins. games. So again, the jungler I don't think there's ever really a conversation to be had about Hun Batz. He's just disruption. He's pretty much just there. Across the way, though, how do you feel about the composition for the enemy team?
I mean, realistically, with what they've gone for here, it looks pretty good on paper right now, but how they execute it, with a new one in the mid lane here, it's a very safe procedural position pick. Elchapo, though, on a Ratatoskr, that's a different story, because it's very similar to what we've seen on him so far with the Thanatos. He likes to be an aggressive playmaker. Ratatoskr is one of these that can do a lot without having to invest as much as the likes of a Thanatos, with better escape, better, easy to confirm damage potential as well.
That's really the key there, is that Chapo has been a playmaker, obviously in the SCL with a ton of success, but even over here in the SPL, although it's been inconsistent.
Look at right-hand side here, straight away. Look at where CycloneSpin is. He started off with Wrath this game, and has started his own blue buff solo, realizing that both junglers are in the mid lane. He's getting free farm of his blue. He's not going to lose anything in the wave whatsoever, because he'll be in there in time to get the whole wave of experience. He'll level 2 very quick. Uzzy, however, this is a bit of a better sharing option for Noble, but Cyclone gets a lead over Uzzy because of this.
Uzzy has been, honestly, it's very interesting. A lot of people, like I said, all eyes on Chapo, and he's been relatively inconsistent, which is why I like the Ratatoskr selection for him. I think it's going to be, Captain Twig came out and said it's just the easiest jungler to play right now.
Granted, and I think that's one of the reasons why he saw a couple of changes in the latest patch that's coming out, is that he did pretty much everything. Good escape, good control, good engagement, but then also free damage and sustain. Like, he had a lot of good stuff, so tone some of those things back and see how if he's still going to be good.
So Chapo on the Ratatoskr should have a better look this time around, and all eyes on Chapo. He's the loud player, he's the streamer, he's the community member. But in all honesty, if you ask me who the standout player has been for the past couple of games, honestly, Graham, it's going to be Uzzy. Uzzy has been a fantastic player for Noble here, even in their losses.
I've been looking at Uzzy, Wowy, and to be fair, they're not the middle or jungle is what I'm going to say. Wowy's look great, Uzzy's look great, as has Wubbn, and Wubbn's had pretty good, consistent performances as well.
Sure.
When you look at this team on paper, the first two names you're going to draw attention to is immediately MLC Stealth, and if you also understand who Chapo is from the console scene, your attention's going there too. But this team is actually a team. It's not a powerhouse that's the forefront of this team.
Uzzy's looking for the invade, but there it is. The Wrath one more time coming up in usage. It's going to be used out there by the solo lane.
Took a lot more damage there, Uzzy, than he would have liked overall, but he will be fine. He still has his teleport up and plenty of potions online for him as well, in case he needs it. He's just going to play pretty far back right now, because from what we've seen from Allegiance before is where Weaken is right now. Weaken, camp solo lane, Weaken #1 is a classic that Ally once told us, and it's still true to form in Season 4.
Yeah, I mean, he's over here just making sure that the Cabrakan can do what he can do. Going to forego a little bit of farm there, level 5 here, but still above Chapo, who hasn't reached the
This is a bad position to be in if you're anyone, especially if you're a tree. But the tree didn't go in the direction they really wanted to there.
He gets out the root, and that's going to be trouble for everybody else. Shell popped on the side of Noble, and that should just dissuade the entire situation. Fantastic stuff coming out from Noble, just understanding Wubbn's in trouble, we have to help. You saw Chapo actually got out of the problem right there, and then Wubbn showed up to pop the shell.
This set between these two, I really look forward to, especially because it's only into week 2. Hold that fort, Yankee in trouble.
And there's the problem when it comes down to characters like Thor, Ratatoskr, or Thanatos versus the Kraken man himself. When you come down from the sky, there's an audio cue, and Metyankey just primes the ultimate. That's a death on virtually any other mid lane, but because of the knock-up in the center, it just can't finish.
But going back to my point as well, Noble versus Allegiance is a set I was very much looking forward to, because it gives you a scale of how the North America is going to play out this year.
Yeah.
Allegiance went to the World Championships, made one roster change, which is Stealth, now coming to Noble, and Yankee in for him. And the Allegiance roster looks pretty solid, but the question is whereabouts are they in the grand scheme of things? Where do they line up in the table? And Noble, a new team, a fresh, revived Noble Esports team here. Where are they going to line up to? And this could be a big difference. If Allegiance stomp through Noble here, it tells you that Allegiance, in the top 4 for sure. If Noble managed to 2-0, it's like, well, hang on a second. This could be quite close in the middle of the pack here. Or if it goes a split, when it's the same sort of story.
I think, yeah, exactly. When you look over at the European scene, I think there's a clear-cut top 4, bottom 4 right there. Here in North America, you've got a top 3, I think.
No, I've got 7 and 1. That's why I'm not going to say which one, but 7 and 1 is my divide in North America of how close it is. But yeah, I would say the cream of North America is probably slightly better than the other 7, so maybe 3 of those teams over to the 7. But yeah,
I think you look at a team like LG, a team like Gabe, as we call them now, and a team sort of like Soar, right, as your top 3. And that 4 spot is really up for grabs. Noble and Allegiance are probably the 2 best chances to really grab that 4 spot, and it's really up to these guys to prove who's going to be in the upper part of the league. I think both of these teams have the capability on paper, and I think they have the capability in practice as well. And it's just who winds up on the better side.
And the big thing is Weekend has played with Chapo before as well, and with Stealth. So he knows them, but they also know him. They know how to maybe get under Weekend's skin in this game as well. After the offset, you can see it's the junglers that are going to try and dictate the pace of this game. It was Weekend that ganked first, and then it was Chapo that ganked in response. Both looking to find the start of initiations. Look to the 2 junglers this game for the initiations.
Absolutely. It's going to be a tempo-driven game, and Noble has the right composition if they want to keep the tempo up. They've got Wowy over there in the Medusa, which should match the Anhur as far as speed or power curve, excuse me. And Chapo on the Ratatoskr is really what I'm looking for. Noble want to keep their foot on the gas. You got to see more and more ultimates and ganks out of this Ratatoskr.
Interesting choice from PolarBearMike here. Looks like he might be going for Gauntlet of Thebes as his first major item instead of Sovereignty or Heart Ward Amulet. This kind of tells me that he's a little bit worried about where the damage is really going to come from for the most part. He gives him health, which is a great stat overall anyway, but a little bit of magic and a little bit of physical, just in case, until he works out exactly where the focal points are going to come, as well as the fact he's Fafnir, who can absorb a lot of this damage anyway.
Right, you've got Ratatoskr and Medusa, your physical, and then you've got your mid lane, and of course Sylvanus deals a decent amount of damage as well. Uzzy over there in the solo lane, that's really what he's waiting out. He wants to see how dangerous will this Vamana really be.
Well, you talk about waiting out as well. Look at what Stealth's built into, the Doom Mob already. This is Noble, going to wait for this Doom Mob to come online, probably by a few more moments, let Stealth get his full boots online, and then Stealth will turn around and be like, all right, boys, full Doom Mob, probably pen boots as well.
Yep.
We could probably swing a little bit in this next engagement. Let's try and make something happen here. Whereas Metyankey, full boots right now, looks for some physical defense early. He doesn't invest into that just yet, but because he's on that train already, he probably does want to pick it up for the penetration and the fact that Chapo's going to be in his face all day.
You know, you talk about MLC stealth, and this Nuwa selection is, you know, something that players really like, and Hindu, I'm still very curious about it. I've asked Aggro about it a couple of times, but I'm curious to hear your thoughts. What does Nuwa bring that other characters don't?
My opinion is it brings you a lot of backline safety more than anything else. It's also an extra engage tool with the fog. The fog is allowing some of your characters to creep up a little bit further than expected. But not only that, she sits in the backline. She can drop her clay minions to prevent body block some shots if they do come in. Also turn around a stun. If she gets engaged on, she's got the global ultimate that can get her out as well. Very defensive god. But if you get left alone, and when you look at the roster that Noble have drafted here, Wubbn, Chapo, and Uzzy may all want to go very deep in these engagements. And if they want to do that, then Stealth can be a more almost proxy peeler for the backline in Wowy as well by having some of these utility skills.
All right, I see it. I see it a little bit.
She's very safe in lane too because she clears with one ability. There's a lot of benefits to her, like very safe in lane. Even though you might be out of position and you're not in the team fight, you can still ult and maybe do some damage. Sure. It makes you feel good about yourself when when the enemy mid rotates to Juon, they get a double kill and you're like, oh, I didn't rotate. Well, right. I'll drop ult and maybe I'll get a kill in response. You know, like hope.
I guess that's the way. That's the one we're gonna.
They're the ones I've seen in ranked games. That's all. They're the ranked new ones that don't rotate and just press ult. Like, oh, I helped. I was there.
I'm helping.
I did damage. Look at me on top of the damage charts.
A little bit of a different arena, I think. Here.
That's true. That's true.
Just slightly, however.
But that Doom Mob is already online now, and I'm looking at the Hunter builds coming into effect as well. Same again with Anhur and Medusa. We saw this earlier today in the Eager set. Both of them went for the Transcendence boot start, and we can really start to see how differences in terms of which Hunters you're playing based off what builds you're going. I could actually start to look at builds in the SPL right now on the Hunter side of things and tell the difference between which Hunters in the game.
Chapo's here. There's going to be the ultimate, and he's going to get taken out, however. CycloneSpin gets the kill off of Weaken's ultimate. First blood going the way to Allegiance. Noble's jungler just in the wrong spot.
He was in the wrong spot. He put some pressure on, but the problem was is that he didn't realize how much of a dangerous situation he was in.
Yeah.
He could have ulted a lot earlier there. You can see Chapo had his ultimate available, but chose to hang on to it instead, and that's come back to haunt him a little bit there. The worst case scenario for them would have been that going over to Weaken, but going over to Cyclone isn't all doom and gloom.
And why do you say that?
Just because he's going to be in the solo lane for the majority of the game to start off with, it's not going to be too much of an impact. It's going to hurt Uzzy, and Uzzy is behind in levels now already because he's been invaded on that blue buff a couple of times as well in the attempts of it. But Uzzy should be able to weather the storm over here. Already going into magical resistance. You see the Pestilence online for him right now, which I'm quite surprised at. He's worried about sustain, which there isn't monstrous amounts. Fafnir, at best, it's got sustain there.
Sure.
Ooh, ooh, Mike. Sorry, I got excited then. Because I thought it was going to be Thebes, right? But look where Mike's gone. He's gone Shield of Regrowth. So this gives him mobility whenever he heals. When does he heal? When he buffs any other character. So what can he do with that? He can pop the heal on, pop the coerce on any one of his teammates, get the mobility, leap in, continue to chase with ridiculous speed, and then throw the hammer.
It's also 20% cooldown reduction. You're halfway to the cap.
I don't care about the cooldown reduction. I'm just looking at go faster Guardian to get in there and try and make something happen.
See, I don't even care that he's going faster. I'm looking at the cooldown reduction.
The cooldown reduction, there's so many benefits to it. And the health to throw that into. I thought it was going to be Thebes, but I'm actually excited about that. Plus, he's got Meditation, which also helps to proc the Shield of Regrowth.
Yep.
He's got 2 ways of doing it, and that's pretty good.
Certainly an interesting look. Only 1 kill right now on the board on our first game. Ultimate out of Wubbn, try to set up Metyankey. The beads will let him go. Here comes Chapo, try to choose a target. Doesn't want to go for the mid lane, instead joins his teammate.
Do you know, for a second, I think Chapo could have dived that Yankee, but look at the flock of sheep that Allegiance was around at Yankee in mid. They realized he was the focal point of that engagement, and if they group around him, the CC chain could have picked up Chapo. I was going to say he could have got in, but he didn't have his beads up, so it makes sense.
Also, the ultimate was online for the Poseidon, so he definitely could just crack at him like he did last time.
Exactly, but after the new war ult goes through, he's low enough that the moment he lands, the moment Metyanky's dead, meaning the Kraken's not going to do as much unless he times it absolutely perfectly.
Which I think
he did last time.
Yeah, exactly.
He did last time.
He did last time. So I think that's certainly something that Metyankey has in his wheelhouse. But very early on here, Allegiance, the only one with a kill here on the board so far. Noble really needs to start finding something.
Something indeed, because at the moment on the right-hand side, you can see the pressure that's just been added to over and over again. The first blood going to Cyclone helped him a bit, but the pressure is more on Uzzy, and it's turned into a situation that we've seen of old when Cyclone and Weaken are this pairing in jungle and solo.
Right.
They just bully the solo side of the map the whole time, and most teams that come up against them will just accept that is going to be the case and abandon all hope. Uzzy is in that situation right now, and Uzzy is getting used to that in the Pro League right now.
Uzzy is, it's very interesting that Uzzy here has been the... Noble leave Uzzy alone all the time. Chapo doesn't help his old teammate, and funny thing to note is that Chapo and Uzzy were teammates on the box. These guys came to the PC together to join up on the console league, so there is no old teammate love there. Chapo just doesn't camp the solo lane, and I think Uzzy is better for it.
Really surprised by this right now with this bait around the corner. Allegiance have been there for a few moments, and normally teams would be like, where's the Gold Fury going on? The funniest thing is, Allegiance, if they knew that was going to be the case, they could have done Gold Fury in that time, you know?
Yeah.
They could have done Gold Fury in that time, but they waited for the bait, expecting a response, and the police didn't turn up.
Instead, they took the wrong way around, and Wowy comes through. That's why I laughed. Wowy comes through and just sees all 5 guys just behind a wall like, hey guys, we're on the other side.
Yep, we're
nice
not getting involved in that. Not getting involved in that now, but we're going to start seeing some power spikes now where, to be fair, both these teams start to come into their own about mid-game. There's definitely some advantages for each of them in certain gods in the early stages, but when we hit mid-game stride, these second relics come into play. And it's not just about the relics, but in terms of engagement of these relics that is really key. It's going to allow Weaken, he's already gone blink as you can see, able to engage with that going forward, get a bit more pressure on this map and look for picks that wouldn't necessarily be there without them.
Blink Hun Batz is one of the best characters, in my opinion, to see Blink on. He becomes just as good of a setup man, if not better, than watching some of the Guardians like Blink Sylvanus and Blink Geb. If you're able to blink behind players and put the totem behind them so it forces the fear into your team, it's just icing on the cake. And when it's a relatively quick ultimate, so you just drop down the totem and everybody starts going nuts. You're going to at least get one kill.
And I'm pretty certain Blink Hun Batz hasn't been around as long as Blink Carly. I believe Blink Carly was the first one to come in online because you want to blink stun. But then people started to realize, hang on, you can blink Fear No Evil and then still escape. Stealth's deep in there on his own. He just walked through the team ignored him.
He's surrounded and he's going to have to go to the sky. There's the kill for Elchapo by himself. Chases him down. Hunter's going to be attacked by Wubbn.
How did Stealth walk through 4 people and just walk straight up to Yankee and go, "Sup, Yankee, I'm going to burst you in your face." And the whole team went, "What? Was that Clay Minion?" No, that was actually the god.
Yeah, nobody expected it. I guess that's part of it. Nobody expects it. There's the ultimate out of the Anhur, and there's the Fear No Evil into a big Petrify. CycloneSpin drops his ultimate, grabs 2, grabs 3. MLC Stealth barely alive, hiding in the fog. PBM picks up 1, and Ocean sniffs out the mid lane.
This is a good fight for Noble right now, because Cyclone's going to collapse too. PolarBearMike has used his ultimate already. Good peel from Oceans. And when we talk about peel, Wowy and Wubbn did great work with the help of Uzzy there to keep Stealth alive as long as they did as well. That was a very interesting engagement between the two that ends up going even.
Yeah, Noble winds up. Yeah, Noble winds up. It's a 2-for-2 trade. I almost think Noble winds up on the bad side of things.
Why do you feel that?
Just looking at how these players, Chapo gets a kill and probably shouldn't have died after the fact. MLC Stealth was a mage that was very deep, so you kind of like chalk that one up. I just don't think that the death was necessary. In any event, neither team gets the Gold Fury, and that's really the goal that the teams are looking for.
Only reason the Gold Fury didn't go down there for Noble, which they could have looked at attempting, but they chose not to because Metyankey and the spawn timers in the early game are pretty early. Yankee died first in that engagement, didn't get the Kraken off, which means it was still available if they wanted to contest it again. So they played it safe rather than sorry. It was very smart heads-up play from them not to think about, oh, wait a second, is Yankee alive? Did he use Kraken? Yes, he's still got it up. Okay, let's just dip for now. But Stealth can't do that again, by the way. I've never seen somebody just walk through the enemy team and go, "Sup, I'm in your face."
Yeah.
And they just let him.
He just hit W. He didn't do anything fancy. That was the nice thing.
I'm pretty sure Yankee was surprised. He was like, "What? How is he ahead of you? How has he got past you guys without you doing anything to him? What the hell?"
Do you think maybe Allegiance assumed he was lagging?
Maybe. But no, don't be so. I didn't go people like that. You made me fall for that for a second. I'm like, yeah, maybe, because like we always play it safe as casters for the most part. But if a new wall walks at you near the Gold Fury, you just kill him. Like you don't just go, "Oh, he's lagged out. Let's fight anyway because he's lagged out." They wouldn't have been in that position if he'd lagged out, because they would have just been like, "All right, we'll fall back and let him pause or kill him." Weekend would kill him. Weekend would kill him. Weekend wouldn't have a hesitation. Weekend's not a nice guy. Weekend's like, I play to win. GG, I would kill him.
The rest of the team would look on as Weekend's just sitting there with his Hun Batz basics, trying to hit him down.
And then crit him right as he comes. And remember, an enemy has returned. Crit, dead. That's what happened.
You've never been taken advantage of by that in like a casual game where the guy runs into the wall and then all of a sudden turns around and ults you?
No, because to be fair, normally when people run into a wall, I back away. I'm actually a good sport.
I go right for the kill.
Unless it's ranked. If it's ranked and we're even in the game, I'm abusing that. But if it's ranked and we're winning the game anyway, I'm going to leave him. He's probably Alt-F forward because I've just stomped him 5 times in a row, you know?
When it comes down to it, the SPL, definitely larger stakes here. And players,
I agree.
Players let the DCs go. I don't know.
Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But it's a competitive edge that you can choose to use if you want. It's situational, it's risky, but at the same time, it's not just good sportsmanship, is it?
No, I mean,
let's be honest. It's not cricket.
I don't mind a little bit of edge on my players.
Sometimes
you need that. I don't know. I like that. I think you always go for the win.
I expect this game is going to go pretty late, though, with how this has gone so far. 18 minutes in, 5 kills, no Gold Fury down. It's been a positional battle more than not. The worst thing is that when you look at the levels of these players as time goes on, the Golden Experience lead right now doesn't really matter to us, but look at where all the levels are. It's on the solo laners and the hunters. These two hunters, even though they are not super late game carries like the likes of a Rama, the likes of basically most of the other hunters, like Apollo and things.
Shibalanka,
yeah, that sort of thing. But what they will do is their mid game is actually really strong, and their itemization build right now isn't that expensive, which means they could really go off.
I mean, we saw last set when it came down to enemy. I mean, I really and truly think PandaCat won a game with a single ultimate.
Well, there's a single ultimate that'll secure a goal for you, not necessarily the game now, but Allegiance just took that for free. Noble were out of position. Mike baits him around the corner, but a quick use of the ultimate just gets him out of danger scot-free.
I love so right before that, we saw the full commit onto the oracles. The pillar comes out from Oceans to zone everybody out, but other than that, almost all the abilities come out, sends the ultimates. 5 players group up to go for those oracles, and that's going to allow them to look for the Gold Fury. But the response from Noble here for the tier 1 tower.
Might be, but Fear No Evil's down for weaken. Oceans meets Chapo in the jungle, and Oceans makes sure Chapo gets back out of the jungle, though. Noble do the right thing here. They lose the Gold Fury for free, make a small mistake, and instead of just resting back on their laurels and going back to farming, they're like, we need to answer back in some way. One of the best ways to do that, take a tier 1 tower. One of the best reasons to do that, you've got a new war with free backdoor protections removal, at least until the end of this patch.
For now. But no, I mean, that is a classic. That is as classic as the 4-man gank on the right side go for the Gold Fury play. That is very classic. Team A picks up the Gold Fury, and then Team B takes away their mid-tier 1 tower because of the fact that the teams and the players on the team that grab the Gold Fury have already expended most of their ultimates and their abilities in an effort to secure that objective. So knowing that the Kraken is down, Fear No Evil was down, PBM's transformation was down, hell, even Ocean Spears were down, knowing that all 4 players had their ultimates down for the count, Noble's able to walk into that mid lane and just pretty much say, all right, we've got all our powerful abilities, and you guys don't. What's up? And Allegiance is forced to back off.
And that's exactly what happens in the grand scheme of it as well. With the clay minions, you know, on the change of the backdoor protection thing, I still think we'll see New War get played sometimes.
Okay.
I still think she'll provide the same sort of thing of that pressure in mid lane. It's going to just take a little bit longer for it to go down. They're still going to tank the tower. They're still going to absorb the shot so the team can get the damage off. But that damage is going to be a little bit lower because they're not removing those protections.
Well, when I asked you, you know, what does New War bring to the table versus other mages, the backdoor protections wasn't even a thought in your mind.
That's true. No, it wasn't.
And it's to me, it's just sort of like an icing on the cake thing.
It's an extra thing of like, are we really losing the game? I guess we can split push New War, you know?
But you're not going to split push New War because as much as you say she's safe, she's not safe in the sense that she's able to walk up a lane. No. It ain't no Apollo ultimate.
That's true. That's true. But at the same time, if you do turn on 1v1 and she's pushing and you don't respect her enough, she'll kill you. She'll kill you good.
Well, this is 2017. We got to be respecting women. You got to respect
sometimes.
You got to be respecting the New War.
I've been respecting women for 2 years now. I'm married. Like, I have to. I don't get a choice in the matter anymore. It's just the way life is.
Only 2 years, Hindu?
Only. Jeez.
Oh, boy.
It's coming up on 2 years. That's crazy.
Well, it's coming up on 22 minutes here, and only 2 kills for Noble.
God, I don't want to be married 22 years.
Can you imagine?
That sounds awful.
I really hope Melanie's not listening to the broadcast right now.
Someone will tweet her. It's fine. It's not a big issue. This is definitely one of those games, though, that it just swings and roundabouts. And I expect this at the start of the year where teams are just vying for positional advantages. As soon as one mistake happens, boom, goes the dynamite, the game's over. That's pretty much how these games go. We saw it in some of the sets earlier on today. We've seen it in some of the sets in week 1 as well, where both teams will have these little close battles. One team will get a Gold Fury, one team will answer the Gold Fury back with a Gold Fury of their own.
Right.
And then the next minute it's like, okay, who throws at the fire gen? Who makes the critical error?
Who messes up?
Who's the one out of position at the wrong time in the wrong space?
Which is obnoxious because then it becomes a battle of who makes the mistakes rather than who makes the hot plays.
To be fair, in the grand scheme of Smite, though, that's the truth. That's all Smite really is who makes the least mistakes compared to your opposition. And who gets punished for those mistakes as well is the addition to that. Because you can make the mistakes and get away with it because the enemy don't exploit it. But when the enemy's at this level, when you're playing against teams like this, they are going to exploit every mistake you make. So reduce the amount of mistakes you make means you win more games.
Very true. Portal Demon can be started by Noble, but Allegiance sniff it out very quickly. You know, it's an interesting objective, the Portal Demon over there. Obviously, it provides the portal.
This is a gank. This is a big setup play here, looking for this free Portal Demon.
But look, Uzzy's going to wrap around from the back end.
And when Uzzy gets spotted, immediately Legion will probably relinquish pressure or aggress onto it. It's one or the other. They're trying to actually really force this and bait in Noble to contest this. Uzzy's giving them full vision, so Noble not too worried. But look at Chapo. He's wrapping them around the back, but we can spot him.
Portal Demon now going to be leashed repeatedly, still about half alive. Now here comes the fight. Chapo looking for the big knockup. The Kraken comes first. Chapo looking for the kill, and he gets it. Wowy is the one to pick up the kill off of the assist from the jungle. Continuing on as PBM jumps forward. Can't catch up to the target. Ocean's firing those basics, gets in trouble. Here comes Uzzy, not going to really invest anything too heavily. Comes back, and there's the meditation for the team.
That was a team play from Noble there with Chapo's decision on his ultimate. He could have gone on the back line to go aggressive and look for kills elsewhere. Instead, he wanted CycloneSpin dead. Why? Cyclone had the whole team trapped in. Nobody couldn't get rid of the tremors. So what does he do? Jump in, knocks him up, picks up the kill, and releases his team, and your team stays grouped that way as well.
Chapo messes around with Weaken to prevent Weaken from jumping into the mist. There's the portal coming out for Noble. And Oceans drops down the pillar to just create the disengage. Both teams walk away 3-3. Noble ties up the kills. Allegiance still leading by about 2,000 gold, but that's about it.
Noble will be really happy with that, though, because if you look at how things have gone so far, they lost an early kill onto Chapo, which Cyclone got. Then they had a team fight that went 2 for 2, but they didn't manage to get anything out of. They then lost a Gold Fury, answered it back with a Tier 1 tower, but that's the first time in this game where they got a lead in some way. Win a team fight, get an objective. That's all you're ever looking to do. That time, win the fight, get the Portal Demon.
Yeah, you need to get your foot, you need to put at least 1 foot forward before you can find yourself, off to a stride. And sometimes, especially for a team like Noble, with players like Chapo and Stealth, these guys really, they get motivated from good plays like that. So certainly Noble looking to make the bigger step.
Yankee just forces Aegis there. Uzzy did great work to force that Aegis, and Chapo may go for Yankee in the back here. No, crashes onto the Gold Fury instead. I think that was a bit of a mistake from Chapo there. Weaken's punished Wowy already.
And he gets the kill quickly. Metyankey very low as he trying to give him a shot, but transforms into the ultimate. Gets zoned out thanks to the help from the Poseidon. And looking to be like a odd little fight here. Allegiance wind up on the good side as they take out Wowy the Hunter. He's going to fall for the first time. 2 kills for him, but now finding his first death.
They may have to give this up here, Noble. If Uzzy goes in, he may just die for free. Gold Fury's gone the way of Allegiance then. That was just a much better battle for them. The start of that battle looked a lot better than it looks because Uzzy got a lot of damage off into Metyankey, forced the Aegis, and I thought that's where Chapo was going to go. Chapo misplaced his ultimate, whether it was because he wasn't sure if they were going to juke back or come forward. He misplaced his ultimate, and meanwhile, the rest of his team were not having fun as the back lane was being pressured.
It's also the fact that Noble, I mentioned before that Noble I would like to see Noble play faster right now, and sitting up in the cloud for that long, I think kind of put the team at a disadvantage. Allegiance were able to come, and I mean that's the thing. When you're sitting at the Ratatoskr, sure, you get a good look at the battlefield. You get to choose when you come down. But if you wait too long, at the end of the day, the enemy team is just going to say it is literally 4-on-5. And take advantage. That's what happened. And Metyankey just walked up, and just like MLC Stealth walked up and blew up the minions, Metyankey walked up and cracking the whole team because Chapo's in the sky.
Yep, and that's kind of what happens sometimes if you're not ready for it. CycloneSpin, though, 1, 2, and 2 in this game. I want to see player damage because he's the highest gold in the game right now, which makes a lot of sense. But he's doing about mid-table, above Metyankey right now. But this build that he's got coming on for him, you see the Rod of Asclepius there. Yes, it is technically a healing item, but it gives you mobility. It gives you some fantastic raw damage as well that does count for something in these engagements. Getting mobility to gap close on a Cabrakan, very, very interesting choice, and a very cheap and effective build.
Yeah, very interesting choice. I love the fact that you brought up the off-label usage. Pretty much, there's a decent amount of health. There's the movement speed. It's not always about the passive on the items. We saw that a long time ago when players in the jungle really started picking up the Brawler's Beat Stick, regardless of enemy composition. It was so much less about the healing reduction and more about the 40 power, 20 penetration that the item offered. Well,
I mean, even the passive on Rod of Asclepius here isn't the greatest. It is going to help PolarBearMike out just a little bit on his healing. And the meditation as well. So the meditation will do a tiny bit more, and the coerce will do a little bit more too. But it's not for that at all. It's not the reason they picked up that item. Exactly. It's all mobility and power.
Yeah, it's just a strong stats on the option. Legion's now creating the option here for the mid lane. You can see a little bit of a split push coming out from the Noble guys on the right-hand side, likely to pick up that tier 1 tower. Wubbn drops the ultimate in response to the Fear No Evil out of the Monkey. Very crafty play right there. The tier 1 goes down to the mid lane, tier 1 goes down to the right side, and now Legion's looking to collapse on Chapo and Uzzy. They go in different directions, and everybody giving chase to the Vamana.
Yeah, they're trying to get Force Big Baby out, and they do. Chapo's in the sky already. PolarBearMike zoning the rest of the team away with that Dragon Form. Good use of that. Immediately collapses back to the team. Uzzy sustaining for a lot of that. That Kraken very well disengaged from Noble there as well. Noble came out pretty well there.
Uzzy, just, you got to give a hand to Uzzy. Right there that was all a calculated play. Uzzy goes ahead, zones out multiple players from Chapo, who's by himself, and Chapo is obviously on the jungle Ratatoskr, a little bit more squishy than the solo Vamana. So Vamana goes ahead and zones out the enemy, and then as soon as he sees everybody collect, like they're going to collapse on him, he starts taking extra damage and turns around anticipating the Kraken coming out.
Is it a fight, Jungle?
I think that was just exactly the way Uzzy needed to play that.
I think it's a good call from Noble to try and do the Portal Demon, knowing that everybody's also on cooldown, but sadly, Weekend is up right now. Weekend's on his way, but he won't be there in time to secure the Portal Demon. That goes the way of Noble. Noble are looking to disengage here, but they may lose Wubbn off this.
Yeah, it's going to be the ultimate out of the Fear No Evil. And Uzzy again winds up getting out of there.
Is Wubbn going to get out? No, he's not going to get out, unfortunately. Wubbn went to the left, and they all invested into Uzzy, apart from Oceans, who kept him busy. And I just thought for a second, maybe they both slipped through by the bad target selection there.
Yeah.
But in the end, they do get at least one, which, for the most part, is just evening things out, because you're not going to use the portal now, but at the same time, it makes Allegiance not want to do the fire
Uzzy
giant.
walks into the portal!
Uzzy
walks into the portal, and here comes everybody else. MLC walks up to another person, but this time, it's by way of a portal.
Chapo in the sky, looking towards Oceans, waiting, looking for the right opportunity, stands down as well.
There's the spin around, and he's looking for the extra damage. Can't find it. Cyclone picks up Wowy. Off the mark, ultimate out of the mid lane. Cyclone picks up Uzzy. Double kill for the solo lane Cabrakan right now. Don't even know where they came
Goodbye,
from.
Stealth. You will be missed. He might get a trade with Yankee. It was close, though, between the two of them there. The portal falls down as well.
What happened in that team fight?
For the most part, target selection, but Lazy Back's come into play there as Chapo will sneakily, he was on a ward, sneakily gets caught from around the back. Chapo, good decision there overall. The funny thing is, I'm surprised it's more Cyclone's damage, I feel, in this, or at least his control in these engagements. We're not talking about him too much, but when these engagements happen, there's multiple members of Noble grouped up, being hit by his ultimate, being hit by his tremors and his stuns. It's making enough of an impact for his team to continue on.
I actually thought that was Noble. So that was Noble's fight to lose. How did things go awry for Noble? I love the way they entered that fight. They send Uzzy through the portal first, understanding that he's tanky. Sylvanus is tanky as well, but Uzzy has more options, knockups, etc. They send Uzzy through the portal at first, and then all of their burst characters come right on through to create the burst. Chapo looking for the steal.
He might be able to get this. He's going to force a reset at least. Wubbn had aggro for a second, which he wouldn't have really liked. Not got long left on this now, so down he comes, and down he goes.
There's the Fear No Evil out of Weekend one more time, focusing the Vamana.
To let the old Great Impale from Oceans there. Oceans has just sneakily got onto the top of the damage charts for Allegiance now, with just good positioning. Gold Fury does go down the way of Allegiance. Uzzy forced to ult again to get away, but Uzzy's doing what Uzzy can really for this team.
It's rough that he died in that last one, because, you know, watching how low everybody is, I think Uzzy played the team fight probably not as strongly as he could have, as strong as the rest of the game has gone for him, with a perfect execution. I think that winds up Noble's team fight and Fire Giant, believe it or not. But a couple of mistakes allow Allegiance to pick up the team fight and then translate that success over to the other side, picking up the Gold Fury and picking up the lead. 32 minutes in here, 14 kills, and 9 of them belong to ALG. And they're leading by a decent amount, 4,000 gold here in the late game.
It's decent, but at this stage of the game, it's not as decent as you'd hope, you know? With 4,000 experience, 3,000 gold. 10 minutes in, if you saw that lead, you're like, this is a substantially good lead, right?
Oh, yeah.
30 minutes in, you've got to times that by 3. It's not as substantial anymore. It's a lot less substantial, especially when everyone's starting to hit level 20 now. Experience matters less and less. Chapo, though, may lose his buff here, and he will.
Yep. No safety for the Ratatoskr just yet. Not going to be the case. Noble, like you said, it's all about the relative gold amount. Noble are 100% still in this game.
Well, we talked a little bit earlier on about when you make mistakes and how badly you get punished for it, because at the highest level you do get punished, so you got to make less mistakes. The mistakes both teams have made right now haven't taken them out of the game. But the next one could be the big one because the Fire Giant is definitely on the cards for either team.
And that's why you see Allegiance with the map with the way that they're positioned
Good
throughout
work,
the map.
Mike.
Fantastic trap coming out from the solo lane. Wowie's the first to fall. Likely stealth after that one. There's the big whap, and the hit out of Weaken. Still continuing on. Uzzy's the target. He's going to have friends as well. Oceans gets the support. And here comes the kill on to Uzzy. Fatalis working its magic. The impale and the hit after the fact. Oceans out of control. 5-0 and 6. Oceans has looked very clean.
Some of the plays from Allegiance there in this have been fantastic.
Is that game?
I think it might be. It's
that
only
game?
Chapo left to defend right now. No real minions with them, but they do have Coerce, so they can buff their whole team here. There's a Frenzy Pop as well by the looks of it.
Frenzy, there's the Whirlpool, and there's the game. Allegiance pick up Noble very quickly.
And what was the... So when you look back at that team fight, which we're not going to get a chance to right this second, but when you look back at that exact team fight there, all it was Noble pressured too far forward into the channel path, and Cyclone's like, I can wall them up.
Yeah, you gotta watch your pathing when you're up against the Cabrakan. Just the wall just completely traps you in. No way to really get out. Just great play coming out from Cyclone. A lot of times we say that the damage dealers are the ones that win the game, right? We look at Panda Cat's Petrify earlier on that won the game, and sometimes a big Zeus ultimate wins the game. Right there, a control ultimate, Cabrakan wins the game for Allegiance.
And it was a good collapse overall from the team because PolarBearMike goes in first, and that's why I called, as you were calling the fight of Cyclone, I'm like, good job, Mike, because when Mike jumps in there, he draws attention to himself straight away. And it bought an extra second for Cyclone before the team reacted to disengage, for Cyclone to get in closer and find that trap.
Game